So yeah, talk to me about your approach to getting off sugar, because I think that's a big part. That's the entire concept of
Yeah,
your book, pretty much, with a lot of bells and whistles and advice and insight beyond just getting off your sugar. But like,
yeah.
tell me about your philosophy and approach around this.
I think the biggest problem I see people try to do, and this was how I live my life for most of my life, is when they want to quit sugar, they stop cold turkey. Listen, it's a very noble approach, but it just doesn't will work. Willpower can get you started, but it's not enough to keep you going because, again, sugar is that addictive. It literally lights up those dopamine receptors in your brain. So even when you try by willpower, it's really, really hard. So I ditched that approach and it was incredible. I'll tell you how I did it, but within 3 weeks, my cravings for sugar were gone. I'm talking about a lifelong addiction. And then fast forward about 3.5 months, just under 4 months, I dropped 42 pounds as a byproduct of starting to change the way I ate, the things that I drank, the way that I live my lifestyle. It started with a green juice. That around that time was when I learned about the alkaline diet. Right now, to this day, the core of what I call a strength eating diet is green juice. If you're going to add one thing, I get this all the time. Like, what's the one thing if you're going to pick one thing I should add, what would that be? It would be a green juice because green juice is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a powerful blood cleanser, a blood detoxifier, liver detoxifier. It alkalizes your blood. It oxygenates your cells. I mean, literally, the list goes on and on and on. So I started adding, again, I ditched that deprivation mindset, Marni, because every
Right.
time I tried to remove, I would get 2 weeks, 2 months, I would just bounce back even worse. So I started with the green juice every single morning without fail. But the crazy thing was when I woke up, I would drink the green juice. It literally tasted like swamp water. It was disgusting to me.
Yeah.
Why was that? It wasn't because the green juice was really nasty. It's because my taste buds were so, used to sugar and all the things I was eating. I had leptin and insulin resistance. So I
Right.
just powered through it because I knew it was right for me. And as I started doing this day in and day out, about 10 days later, I'm like, you know what? This isn't that bad anymore. Now, the green juice didn't change. My body started changing. Your taste buds
Your
roll
taste
over
buds change. Yeah.
you got it. You nailed it right there. Every 14 days. So it started getting better and I actually started craving it. And I just started adding from there. One green juice became two green juices. I started adding a salad. I started bouncing on a rebounder, a really powerful way to do lymphatic drainage to help your body detoxify and move the lymph where your body's trapping in all these acids and toxins. And it was incredible. 3 weeks later, around that time, my energy was up, my weight was down, my digestion was better. I was sleep like everything was right. And I'm like, there's something about this. And there was
I
no
had
way I
my
was going
own
back.
I had my own exact experience like that, but it was not revealed that I was detoxing from sugar. It was almost like a trick. So I'm going to share my story and then let you continue, because I 100% am on board with your approach and philosophy, and it 100% works. So when I first started doing triathlons, it was, I had like just started really getting into like training, and
Hmm.
I was friends and had worked with a nutritionist at the time, and she noticed that I had a lot of food allergies. She slowly got me into eating greens, and she never said like, don't eat chocolate, don't eat sugar, don't do this, don't. It was like this green infusion into my life. And I had never liked eating salad or greens before. And it was suddenly like I couldn't get enough of them. I did this massive detox from just generally what I was eating. And I lost weight, not intentionally. I stopped eating sugar. Not, I mean, it wasn't my intention. I just didn't crave it anymore. But it was definitely, I'm back. I've been eating sugar, during the past year during COVID. I don't feel like I have a problem with it. I'm sure I do. It's the chocolate that kills me and the creamer. But anyway, so continue your story, because I concur. Your
Well,
process and philosophy works. Yeah.
well, it's so interesting that you say that because this is what we've been seeing over the last year. I mean, we're still in the uncertainty of this pandemic, and let's rewind to back, February, March of last year when this pandemic happened. We were blindsided by this pandemic, Marni, as we all know. And, no one knew that this was coming. And then we had that quarantine slapped upon us. I know in New York City, where we both are, it was pretty crazy early on. But
Yeah.
that's what happened. Most of us crawled into our foxholes and we didn't come out, and we started stress eating. But think
Right.
about stress eating. What does that mean? Like, what are the foods that we go for? It's the comfort foods, but those foods don't comfort us at all. You know, they actually add more stress to our system, more stress to our bodies, more stress to our energy, more stress to our hormones, not just the short run, but the long run. In fact, they even called it what, the COVID-19, the quarantine
Yeah.
15, as far as
Yeah,
the weight gain.
exactly.
And I
Yeah.
just read a study this morning showing that over the last year, this is crazy. The life expectancy from 1 year of us living in this pandemic has actually reduced by 1 full year from 78.8 years to 77.8 years. That's an
Wow. That's
insane jump.
crazy.
Why
Yeah.
is that? Because of the stress eating. And when this thing happened, it just took over so many of us. But here's the thing, it's like most of my clients who were strength eating, that were exercising and managing the stress, not letting the stress manage them, you know, they walked into this pandemic, or I should say they ran into this pandemic, and they tended to fare so much better. Why was that? Because they were prepared. They anticipated, which they didn't know was going to happen. Just anything can come our way. So we always got to be ready. I think that's the lesson. And the bigger lesson is that no matter where we're at right now, we can always get back on course. It doesn't matter what health cards you've been dealt, what age you are, all that doesn't matter.
It's
We got
not
to
too late.
control. It's
Yeah.
never too late. It's never too late to get off your acid, as I say. But here's the thing is, don't overcomplicate it. You know, my approach, I was an extremist. It was always like all or none. And that was a big issue. It's like, if you're waiting for perfection, guess what? Sabotage, never going to happen. So again, that was something that I ditched. And I just said, I need to change this approach. We all know what insanity is. It's doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result, where the results
Right.
weren't going to be different unless I changed my approach. So that's when I just said, you know, I'm just going to do one thing. I'm going to just do it really well. I'm not going to say I'm not going to eat chocolate. So that's how I did it. It took a little bit longer, but guess what? Here I am now, years and years later, and it sticks. It lasts. That's the thing. So many people live this dreaded yo-yo where they get on, and here we are in February, but look at January. January 15th, this is the crazy stat. The research shows that 92% of people who set New Year's goals and New Year's resolutions fail. It's crazy. So why
Done.
is that? Because they associate making healthy transformation, healthy change with deprivation, with pain. You know, I got to
Right.
stop sugar.
And they
I
set
can't eat
unrealistic goals. Yeah.
unrealistic. And you know, no one likes to remove. It's not good for our psychology. Before we even start the 7 steps in 21 days in the book, what I do is I have to set the framework about why we're doing what we're doing. And I'm going to tell you that 20% of success in anything you do, especially with your health and changes you want to make, it's the strategy. That's only 20%. We can teach everybody that. But here's the thing, 80% is your psychology. It's your purpose. It's your why. So when the you know what hits the fan, it's like you have that wherewithal, that purpose, that resolve, that passion to get through it or find a way around it. That's what we need to do. So we start with 7 days of basically teaching people how to detox your mind, figuring out what your why is and your purpose and and things like that, your outcome. We talk about detoxing your pantry, and then we do a 3-day detox, which is really not that hard. On day 1, you're like excited to start. Day 2, you're like, oh, and then day 3, you're over, right? But we need
Right.
to detox the body to prepare that vessel for all the goodness that's about to come. And then we start with that ADD approach. And it works. And here's the best thing. It doesn't matter what your health philosophy is. You could be keto, you could be paleo, you could be vegan, vegetarian, no matter what it is. This is about fitting this into your lifestyle, not the other way around.